What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with another AEW Week in Review. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. What I always like to do is I like to give everything that happened in AEW programming, from BTE to Dark to Dynamite. Give my thoughts as I see it. This week was the anniversary of Dynamite, so it was the 1 year anniversary. Sorry, just fixing my camera up a little bit. I apologize if you hear any background noise. My new neighbors are a little loud and annoying. So it was the 1 year anniversary of Dynamite. So they packed it with 4 different championship matches. All their titles were on the line. It was alright. I had some things here and there about it. So we'll get into it, but we're going to start off, as always, with BTE and their dog. So the episode the episode was entitled "I Love You, Dude." So it started out with a flashback to August 26th, 2019. So Hangman is out there at, I believe it was All Out. He asked them to second him for his Jericho match. They had the ladder match with the Something de los Muertos, with Lucha Brothers for the AAA tag team titles. They had to also be in gorilla position, but they said they can try to make it, and he said, don't worry about it, it's okay. So obviously this, is bearing into the overall story with Hangman and the Bucks, and the kind of fissure between the two of them. So then we go to Colt. This is actually kind of weird but funny. So Colt Cabana is Nakazawa, thinks he can just walk into the EVP room, so he walks in, Kenny's there. Nakazawa is wearing a mask, but Kenny says, that's why your voice sounds so different. Obviously not understanding that it's Colt Cabana, because he doesn't know there. So Matt, apparently they're talking about, isn't there. So Kenny goes, so get on your knees, let's do this. Let's do what we do every time, before Dynamite. And obviously Colt Cabana doesn't know the routine, so he, obviously is a little skeptical of it. He's a little weirded out. So he's like, all right, I guess I got to do it. So he gets on his knees, opens his mouth like he's about to perform a certain act. And then Kenny puts the spray tan bottle in his mouth. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? Come on, we need to spray tan these legs. So he spray tans the legs. He looks already happy. Kenny's happy with the work he did. Obviously Colt Cabana's feeling relieved and like, oh, yeah, sure. Let me just zoom in a little more. Yeah, there we go. So then Kenny says, before Matt comes in, why don't you come over and suck my... And then we go right into the beginning intro for BTE. It was pretty funny. So the Bucks are vlogging at Dynamite. They deciding who they want to super kick tonight. They see Marvez, who's with Justin Roberts, and he's like, Marvez, run. Da-na-na-na-na. So they do that bit. Justin Roberts looks at the Bucks, looks at Marvez, and says, I'm sorry, I love you. And super kicks himself, brings his foot up to his face, obviously in homage to the Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels match. The Bucks are a little surprised because they said they like him, and they were never going to do that, but they're impressed. Then they think, maybe he can do what, it's rumored that Lenny Poffo can do. I'm not going to talk about that. You can look that up for yourself. Another Speaking Spanglish edition. Ortiz can't be found. He's actually kidnapped by Silver and Reynolds. Their Chili's gets there. Johnny hungry, so they leave. Santana is able to find him with the Me phone. Abramentez drinks the Kool-Aid and says to join the Dark Order. He's been talking about being part of the Dark Order for a while now. I don't know if that actually means anything. So we get the first tournament for the BTE title belt. It's actually going to be Gator Golf. So there's a 12-man tournament, 3 rounds, triple threat for the finals. So they said they're not going to start with wrestling matches. Maybe they will in the future. Who knows? So the first match is Nick versus Matt. They used to do this all the time in TNA, they said, when they were getting ready, warming up. So Matt wins that first round match. So he advances. We get Hangman and Cutler throwing watermelons and pumpkins. So Hangman says he fell off the bed of the truck. He says that they can do this every day. Cutler is still, though, trying to push to patch it up with the Bucks. Hangman isn't having it and says not to talk to him anymore, as if he's angry. He actually leaves his phone in his in the pumpkin that is smashed, and walks off. We get our next round for the BTE title, Chuck versus Trent in Gator Golf. Trent wins. We then have Leva Bates, who goes up to Kaz, very excited to see him. She recites some of her favorite, favorite words from a story. She says, Kaz says, that's Jump from Van Halen. He obviously likes it. And then she goes, I love Van Halen. And he goes, the do ya? And then Christopher Daniels comes out of nowhere. And he's like, did I miss the do ya bit? And it's a little awkward there. I don't know. I guess he's, just trying to find something for him to do in that spot. So the Bucks are watching the FTR match during Dynamite. As we see, Hardy actually shows them how to watch the match, basically from the screen, where the awkward WWE style, which is so stupid, like from the side, but like looking this way, it's so ridiculous how they look at the screen. But it's actually a funny bit. How Hardy's like, yeah, this is how you guys do it. This is how you're supposed to do it. And they're like, oh, this is so much more comfortable. So Uno is looking for Brody. He goes into their big room that they have. It's completely trashed. And then, let's see, Stu is under the table. He said Anna did this to him. He's like, Uno says, I'll go look for Anna. She's apparently there the whole time watching. Anna says, he says, Stu earmuffs. Uno asks for 2 weeks of being nice. Anna says, okay, no problem. As soon as Uno leaves, she lies, knocks him over the table. She has it out for Stu. I don't know what it is. Cutler's in the parking lot. Goes to see the Bucks. Matt doesn't want to hear about it, about the stuff with Hangman. Cutler goes off on them about what friendship is. They didn't second him. They didn't second They didn't second Hangman, and all this stuff about the way the way they've been going about things. Finally, it looks like he gets through to both of them. The Bucks say they're going to second him on Dark for his big match against Avalon. Matt then messages Hangman apologizing, says that they need to talk it out, and only one conversation could probably clear all this up. So Hangman phone obviously is in the pumpkin. So Silver and Reynolds are playing Gator Golf. Silver patched up from Dynamite still. He asked about the bris of Reynolds' dad, and does all this awkward stuff about circumcisions, which I think is pretty funny. Silver eventually wins, though, so he advances. Dark Order is in their room again. Uno is saying they've had a terrible week. Reynolds suggests a romantic NYC getaway for Brody. Uno suggests poems about how Brody has a sexy ass. Stu says he needs blood, so he's going to go find Cody and kill him, bring him back there. They're all like, no, that's a little too far. Silver suggests they kiss his ass, literally. Oh, yeah, 10 before that says, there's this white powder that makes you put up your nose and you makes yourself really happy, and then guns. They're obviously not keen on that idea. Then Silver suggests they kiss his ass, literally. 5 suggests 5 guys, and they all flip out on him, so he's basically the new punching bag, which I think is funny. Brody comes, he's pissed, tells them all to fuck off, and all to leave, but he actually lets Silver stay, so I think Silver actually got into his good graces for getting the shit kicked out of him by Cody during the match. So while this is going on, we see the next bit was we see someone grab Hangman's phone and is sending a nasty response to Matt about they're not friends anymore, fuck you, all this stuff. Matt sees it, shows Nick. They look very disappointed. He shatters the phone, and that is how BTE ends. So obviously the saga between Hangman and the Bucks continues. We actually thought that it was going to come to possibly an end, a good end, but it didn't. So that's unfortunate. So now we go to Dark. So Dark was pretty heavy, so I'm going to try to fly through this. 4-way match to start. Evil Uno, Blade, Kaz, and Jungle Boy. So there's a lot of back and forth. This is actually a really good match between everybody. Eventually, Jungle Boy gets a surprise jackknife cover on Uno for the win. The Dark Order is out. Butcher comes out. Marco with a kendo stick and Christopher Daniels come out. Lucha Brothers out and clears out Dark Order. So this is just a bunch of factions and tag teams coming together. Nothing really there. Lucha Brothers versus Lee Johnson and Cesar Bononi. Eventually, they hit the spike pile driver on Lee for the win, but Cesar Bononi and Lee Johnson are both really good prospects. I love Lee Johnson. I've said it 1,000 times over. So he definitely needs to be there. Cutler versus Avalon. Why is this not the fucking main event of at least Dark? This is the best fucking long-term story, maybe out of everything on AEW. Maybe everything with Paige is maybe one. This is like 1A. This is the longest term story booking, the best story. This needs to at least be given the credit, the placement on the card, and the time it deserves. We need more of it both on BTE. We need more on Dynamite. These two are two of the best wrestlers that they have, and they're so underrated. They're so just frustrating. Okay, here we go. So my notes: why is this not the main event? So the Bucks aren't seconding Cutler or in the crowd. So obviously this is stemming from the events of BTE. I don't know if they're mad at Cutler because he pushed them to kind of try to bury the hatchet with Hangman on his advice, and he's saying that Hangman wanted to do it. So I don't know what that means. So we get Martini's on the stage with the surprise attack by Avalon. He power bombs him on the ramp. Avalon says he wants to be declared the winner. Cutler finally gets into the ring. They start the match. Another Martini's off the middle rope. Avalon demands a count out now. Cutler is able to beat it. Single leg crab by Avalon. Cutler gets to the ropes. Avalon is using Oliva as a distraction so that he can take advantage. Suicide dive by Avalon. Springboard elbow drop by Cutler for a 2 count. We get a reverse DDT by Cutler for 2 count. Cutler grabs the dice to go in there and use them. His big polyhedral sided die. Oliva convinces him not to do it. You're better than this. So we get a variation Michinoku driver by Avalon for a 2 count after he's been distracted. Knox gets taken out slightly. Cutler with the gut buster, but the ref isn't there to see it. Cutler then grabs a book. Avalon grabs Cutler's dice. They hit each other at the same time, knock each other down. Knox sees it, calls for the bell. They're both in the ring, kind of knocked out. Leva looks at both, very disgusted, and then she leaves. So obviously this is still going. This is great. I still think that they need to figure out a little bit more, need to give it a little bit more juice. Maybe even bring it up to Dynamite. I know it's obviously their staple of Dark, but there are plenty of things on Dynamite that they can cut out and give to this. So it just needs it. It needs it. It needs the full crowd. It needs the locker room. Imagine the locker room was there for this, out watching, like who's going to get their first win. You start interviewing actual wrestlers. They're doing their promos and talk, like, instead of like the big title match, but they're talking about this match. I think that would be really cool. I think it'd be, if they want to make it a little humorous, they can do that. But damn it. Sonny Kiss promo. He's got a big match against Seidel. Seidel versus Kiss. Eventually, Seidel. This is actually a pretty decent match. Standing Phoenix Splash by Seidel for a 2 count. That was pretty cool. Fisherman Buster by Seidel. We get the X's and O's in the corner by Kiss for a 2 count. Eventually, Seidel hits the STF Cobra Clutch combination for a submission win. So we get the Dark Order, Silver Reynolds and 10 versus Aaron Solo, Angel, Fashion, and Badu. So we get a combo Razor's Edge variation for the win for the Dark Order there. That's pretty much it. Elena Black versus Red Velvet. So Red Velvet obviously is getting a little push. Brandy's out on commentary. We get the running boot, which she calls the Just Desserts, to the head for the win. So obviously still no mention of Allie. I don't know what's going on there, what the issue is, but yeah, she's just completely out of the picture now. Ricky Starks versus Fuego del Sol. He hits a spear that nearly breaks Fuego's neck. Rochambeau for the win. So we get backstage interview with Sky and Christopher Daniels. Marvez asks Spears if Spears got in his head. Christopher Daniels blames actually Tully for it. Tully then comes out, challenges Christopher Daniels versus Spears for next week. Gun Club versus Ryzen and Max Stardom. Starks, after his match, hung out on commentary. Gun Club have an 8-0 record. Obviously, it's only on Dark, but it's still, they should be starting to get a little bit more play there. Billy's just an absolute beast. Austin hits the quick draw eventually for the win. Darby Allin versus Nick Camarado, who is just a huge, hairy individual. Kind of just looks like, I don't know, just looks like just absolute beast. I can't even think of someone, maybe like a bigger version, a hairier version of Butcher, but more cut up, because he was jacked. So Darby is going after the knee and arm, trying to break him down. Eventually hits the coffin drop to the back for the win. Darby then attacks Starks on commentary. He didn't acknowledge on the start and then attacks him. And we get a Kyle and King promo. Vicky and Nyla attack them in their match. And then during the scrum last week, they attacked her again from behind. So she calls her the native bitch. I mean, I guess, I'm glad that they're giving some of these Dark competitors, more personality, so that's good. We got Colt Cabana versus Griff Garrison. Only Uno's out with Colt, since obviously Colt, I think, is on the outs with everybody, especially Brody Lee. So we get the Billy's Goat Curse submission for the win there for Colt Cabana on Griff Garrison. Griff gets some decent offense in. I like Griff Garrison. Obviously, him and Brian Pillman Jr. had their first win last week, so that's always good. So they're starting to give them more play there. Kylan King versus Nyla Rose. This was just an absolute destruction. Beast Bomb for the win here, so that promo really didn't do much. Vicky comes in the ring, says they're being handed jobbers. Nyla won't wrestle until Shida accepts their challenge. Joey Janela versus D3. D3 quick, but Janela is able to handle that. We get an airplane spin, then a Death Valley driver on the floor. We get the running lariat, a brainbuster 3 times by Joey Janela for the win. So he didn't do any of his normal moves, the Death Valley driver, the elbow drop there for his finisher, just a lot of brainbusters, which is cool. I like that not everyone needs to get their finishing move for the win. They can win in other ways. That's what's something that WWE doesn't almost do, unless it's like a small package, It's either their submission move or their finisher, and then that's it. Or like some cheat. They just don't win with other moves, which is weird. We get Elijah Dean versus Wardlow. This was the knockout knee for the win. That was it. And then Eddie Kingston versus Baron Black. Once again, this should have been Avalon versus Cutler. Black with a discus lariat and exploder suplex for a 2 count. But then Eddie Kingston hits the spinning back fist and then puts him in a front chancery for the submission win. So Eddie Kingston now has been doing all kinds of submission wins to show, kind of throw it in Mox's face that, it's not just his knockout. He wants to tap out Mox the way, because these people are tapping out. He never tapped out. He passed out, so he didn't tap out. He wasn't pinned. That's his claim now. And that is AEW Dark. How we doing there? Not bad. And now we're going to Dynamite. So happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. I was there from the beginning. There when the concept, the idea of AEW came to fruition on that New Year's Day BTE episode 2019. I was super happy about this because, I came to the game really, really late, and I fully admit it with being the Elite. I knew Cody, I heard of Kenny Omega, I knew who the Young Bucks were, but I didn't really know anything about being the Elite. And when I got started in it, I probably started about 6 to 8 months before that particular episode, and I binged every episode of Being the Elite. And just seeing the progression through their friendship, the idea of Being the Elite, going from just a travel blog to more kayfabe, story heavy, the stuff with the murder of Adam Cole, R.I.P., to the exorcism of Cody, to the idea of AEW and how that started to work up, or All In, how that came out, the murder of Joey Ryan, let's not talk about him so much, but the whole idea there, and Stephen Amell being involved, and all this stuff, just such genius from these guys, and you just show how much they love and how much passion they have for the business, and I'm so happy that they are where they are now. Obviously everything isn't going to be 100%. Obviously no one expected a pandemic like this, but for such a young company that really needed to hit the ground running because you're going in a very niche market against, someone, a just absolute Goliath in the business, and to be able to weather this storm and compete and still pull in ratings that are better than the show that's they're directly competing against in that time slot is just a testament to how hard they work and the work of everyone that's involved. So congratulations on 1 year. Okay, now that I've done kissing your ass, I'll get into it, and I apologize for the dog in the background. So we start out right away. AEW tag team match, FTR versus Best Friends. They're both already in the ring. This is for the 60-minute rule, not the Brush with Greatness 20 minutes. Tony slips up about the date. He says a date in WCW history, which I thought was funny. Solid match to start. Trent's taking heat, double slingshot into the ropes. Avalanche back drop by Dax on Trent. Trent counters Cash Vader bomb, hot tag to Chuck. Tope con Hero on both by Chuck. Tully sweeps the leg again. Dax takes advantage. Sexy Chucky knee, Soul Food half and half, Shining Wizard all on Cash for a 2 count. We get an assisted powerbomb, a gory special driver on Trent for a 2 count. FTR is able to keep isolating one member of Best Friends while this is going on, showing how this is just how they do tag team wrestling. Classic tag team. You got to isolate one of the guys. Trent counters an Avalanche back suplex for a 2 count. Does the fake Dax does the fake punch, then Spike DDT for a 2 count. They're showing their frustration because they're not able to put these guys away. We get the strong zero on Dax, but Cash breaks the count. Cash brainbuster on Chuck on the floor. Trent dropkick sends Cash to the outside. He misses a spear through the arcade game that Penelope and Kip were playing. Kip is very upset, tells Penelope to go get him, and I'll talk about that in a second. So Cash brings Trent back, which I thought was interesting because they're all about winning, and they don't apparently they're supposed to win, get the winner's purse no matter what happens, as long as they don't lose the match. Like, they don't lose the title. I think that's what it is. They have to be pinned or submitted. I think that's what it was. So for them to bring him into the ring, I mean, obviously it's, maybe you don't want to lose that way. You want to be able to beat them 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. But I would have liked a little more explanation into that, because it just seemed weird that all of a sudden that they were kind of playing by the rules there. So anyway, so Trent reverses the Goodnight Express. Cash uses the belt for a knockout on Chuck for the win, which I thought was really weird because basically Rick Knox, who is, probably, I guess, the head ref, almost had to duck as if he was about to get hit, even though he wasn't really close, but he cowered in fear completely, and then he definitely could have seen it. It was overbooked in that respect. He didn't need that. He didn't need to do it that way. I mean, he could have been pushed to the floor or something at least then, because it just looked weird that almost he wanted it to happen, and he just played ignorance to it. So Cash and Dax, FTR wins again. Best Friends, they hug. They got to give the people what they want, even in a loss. Miro comes out for the post-match attack. We saw a what do you call it? Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah. So we end up seeing a social exclusive where Penelope's running out to the back while Miro is doing some exercising, and she's like, they broke Alan. They broke Alan? He's like, come on. So he runs off. So he runs and beats the shit out of both of them. They stay in the ring, so we get Lee Johnson and Sean Maluda, tag team match about Kip and Miro. Basically, Miro destroys them. Kip comes in literally for one move. Puts the camel clutch, the accolade, whatever he wants to call it. Actually, I think he's calling it game over now on Maluda for the win. Kip calls the arcade Allen, as I said, and it meant everything to him. Miro gets on the mic. He says, "Good friends, you break my shit. Game over." So obviously, it's frustrating because Best Friends keep getting these title shots and then just keep getting put into another feud with another tag team. But I still love Best Friends, so okay. Archer and Mox are fighting backstage. Jake's cheering them on. And then there's an official who tries to break it up, and Archer just knocks the shit out of that guy. Janelle and Penta are the last two in the tournament for the AEW title. So Phoenix and Penta will actually face off in the first round. Kenny and Hangman are on opposite sides, as we assumed they would be. So MJF is out for his big announcement. So he's done more in 1 year than we have done in our whole lives. Obviously, this is going to be a typical long-winded MJF promo. He introduces Jericho to come out. The whole Inner Circle out with their jackets, all except Sammy. Sammy does have his jacket, and they say to put it on. Turns out it's a triple XL. It's pretty funny. So MJF is buttering Jericho up, saying, "Can I touch your hair?" All this stuff. When you're at home watching Animal Planet, he's like, "I hate Animal Planet." Okay, that's oddly specific, but I guess because it's not on the Turner family of networks. So then Jericho says, "Just cut the shit. What do you want to say?" And he says they're the two top draws in AEW. There's a reason why two piranhas don't eat each other. Why don't they work together? And he's like, what I'm trying to say is I want to join, doing that kind of thing. Basically, he says he kind of sort of wants to maybe join the Inner Circle. Ortiz grabs the mic, says they don't want him. But then Jericho cuts him off and says, "You know what? We make these decisions as a family. How about next week? Let's do a steak dinner." And then they kind of start like talking as if it's a match. "You want a steak dinner?" Yeah. All right, you're on. So we get a steak dinner next week with Jericho and MJF, where Jericho, I believe, will give his answer to MJF's wanting to join the Inner Circle. So we get this great bit. So it's Tony at the spa with Britt Baker. They're both getting massages, and Reba comes in. Britt gets up because she had, I think, the cucumber slices on her eyes. She realizes Tony is naked. She starts screaming and like she's creeped out. They're now waxing Tony's chest and just going ham on him, and I just think it's great. She says nothing can keep her down. And she talks about her match, about how her comeback match and how Tony wasn't there, and Tony's like, "The Bucks super kicked him." He's like, "I was super kicked by the Bucks. That's why." So yeah, I just thought it was a really funny bit. Their relationship is great. We get our next title match, the TNT title, Cody versus Orange Cassidy. Cody is back to blonde. Darby's in the stands watching. We find out why, because he's going to be given a title shot at Full Gear. But that kind of spoils, because we know that Cody and Darby still have the kind of ongoing feud. So it kind of spoils what we're going to get here. Orange finally does a lockup. Cody is getting frustrated because he can't, get what he wants against Orange Cassidy. Cassidy with some nice pinning combinations. Cody Mane controls through picture-in-picture, hip toss over the top rope. We get the sweet shin music, super kick, suicide dive by Orange Cassidy. Dark Order on the heel side, watching over everything. Silver grabs the belt. Orange grabs it back. The entire Dark Order gets ejected. Orange counters a Crossroads with a Stun Dog Millionaire. We get a Cody Cutter, drop kick to Orange Cassidy's knee. Cody wraps the knee around the pole. Arn isn't happy about that, neither is the crowd. This is where we find out Darby will get the TNT title shot at Full Gear. We get a disaster kick for a 2 count. And then Orange slowly escapes what I thought was going to be the pedigree. I don't know. An avalanche reverse suplex by Cody for a 2 count. Cody goes for the post again, but he's pulled up against it this time. We had a diving DDT by Orange Cassidy for a 2 count. Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Then Cody gets the figure 4 on. Orange reverses, but Cody rolls over, and they do this several times until finally Orange Cassidy gets to the ropes. Orange Cassidy hits the beach break on the apron. Both fall to the floor. They barely beat the count. We get another beach break for a 2 count. And then Orange Cassidy gets the mousetrap. But as time runs out, this was perfect timing. So as the ref goes for the 2, that's the end of the match. So this was really good. So obviously we know eventually they're going to get some kind of rematch or something here that we talk about later. I personally would like to see a triple threat match at Full Gear. That would be cool. Marvez backstage interview with Archer and Jake Roberts. They say why did they attack Mox? But then Mox comes out of nowhere and starts attacking them. Archer hits one of the officials again. Tony with Matt Hardy and his family in the crowd says he feels perfect. He's 100% cleared to return. All of a sudden, a video package comes on the Tron of someone burning his pictures. It's Sammy. He was the one who attacked Hardy the other week with the baseball bat. He says he'll keep taking him out until he is sent home for good. He said, "You think this was over, but obviously not." So, I mean, this what do you call it? Feud has been really just completely just such bad luck with this one. Obviously, there was Sammy's suspension. Then there was the injury to Matt Hardy. They've never really been able to flesh this out and finish it the way they wanted to. I hope they are able to, at this point, get something really good here, just because, I think they're both great, and I think this could be a really cool feud. I just think the stopping and starting of it has really, kind of almost made it like, you know what, just move on from it. You can always come back to it later on once things are more steady, but I don't know. I just don't get it. So then we get a 4-way tag. We're told we're going to get a 4-way tag match to be the number one contender for a match at Full Gear next week. So we have a drawing. So first is Private Party, Silver and Reynolds, Butcher and the Blade, and then Tony reluctantly pulls out the name of the Bucks. So the Bucks go to shake FTR's hand. They say they're not here to super kick them. They're here to super kick them. And they super kick Silver and Blade. It breaks down. They shake hands with Private Party, and then they super kick them. So then we get our AEW Women's title, Sheeta versus Big Swole. So my biggest issue with this was it felt a little off first. The second thing was there was no build to this. It was just like, oh, Swole has a match. We barely seen either of them interact with each other. So, I mean, you knew right away where this was going. So, great chain wrestling to start. Tony Khan announces Mox and Archer match will be a no DQ because of them just beating the shit out of each other nonstop. Sheeta showing power, even though Swole is supposed to have the advantage there. We get the running knee lift. Swole sends Sheeta into a cameraman. Sheeta with the chair-assisted knee lift on the barricade in picture-in-picture. We get the inside-out cutters on the ramp and then back in the ring for a 2 count by Swole. Dirty Dancing countered into a straightjacket German bridge for a 2 count, which was really cool. Falcon Arrow by Sheeta for a 2 count. Dirty Dancing, but Sheeta is able to grab the ropes. We get the running knee by Sheeta for the win. It felt very quick as well, so there was another issue I had with it. Nyla was ringside watching. So next week, we get the 4-way tag match for the spot at Full Gear against FTR. We get the first round of the title tournament, Jericho versus MJF Dinner. And then in 2 weeks, we get our TNT rematch, Cody versus Cassidy. So Kingston and Lucha Brothers come to commentary. So Sky and Spears video package. Sky stole a moment on Late Night Dynamite, so he plans on collecting. So obviously they're setting up this feud with Sky and Spears. We then get our no DQ AEW title match, Mox versus Archer, which has been in the works for a while now. So I think Archer has new music, and he has like kind of the fake glass in front of the tunnel when he comes out, and he threw one of the production staff guys through it this time instead of it just like breaking and dropping, which I thought was pretty funny. Archer with old school biker helmet, which I thought was cool. So a little different packaging. Paradigm shift right away by Moxley in the ring. Archer kicks out. They brawl to the outside. Archer's no selling shots, then pounces Mox. Cannonball senton from the apron by Archer, which is pretty impressive. He's in control during picture-in-picture. He sets up 2 tables on the outside. Archer says Mox was supposed to take them to the land of... Kingston on commentary said Mox was supposed to take them to the land of entertainers, but he went by himself. The German release by Mox. Mox with chairs into the ring. So he just throws one at Archer's face. Mox sets up 2 chairs, but Archer chokeslams him through them, which was brutal for a 2 count. Archer goes to Pillmanize the neck. Mox gets a knee bar though. Archer pulls himself out of the ring because he's grabbing the ropes, but no DQ, so he can't get the breakup. Mox dive is countered with the trash can. We had a low blow, then a paradigm shift through the tables off the apron. So this is actually the similar spot that they did in their Texas Death Match in the I don't know if it was the G1 or just a match at Tokyo Dome. maybe it was Wrestle Kingdom match. I forget exactly, but this was one that they did in Japan. This match was very similar to that match, which I was told. I've only seen clips of it, so I'm not going to opine like I know so much about New Japan. But I did see this spot, almost verbatim. So, well, verbatim is not exactly the right word there, but you know what I mean. So we get another paradigm shift, but only gets a 2 count on that one. Bulldog choke, but Archer's able to get up and power out of it. Blackout, but it's countered into a crucifix for the win. Archer is going with the post-match beatdown because he's pissed. He was surprised by it, not very happy. Eddie then says to Lucha Brothers, go help him. So they go running in. You assume that they're going to help Archer, but the what do you call it? The Lucha Brothers go in there and they actually hit Archer with chair shots. Jake Roberts is able to get him to leave before they fight. So it's now Lucha Brothers and Moxley are in the ring. Kingston with Moxley, who's kind of like beat up. They kind of help him to his feet. Eddie gets on the mic, says they were friends back then, and then Eddie's really laid it on thick about how he's the champ and all this stuff. He then hits the back fist on Moxley, goes to the ground, then hits the rear naked choke, which you'll see in the thumbnail here. And that is how AEW Dynamite goes off the air, the anniversary edition. It was good. You know what it is? It just felt like a typical episode at this point, which is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. The problem is that, it was just a regular episode. So, what are you going to do there? Yeah, and then 4 title matches. You thought at least one of them would be one would change hands. Nothing changed hands, and I get that you're building toward your pay-per-view. But if you're gonna make it your anniversary episode, you want to kind of make something stand out, something big happen. Either like a return or a debut or a title change or something. Nothing really happened. So anyway, so that is AEW Week in Review. But as always, I do my match of the week. And I pretty much got to give it to the AEW title match between Mox and Archer. This was just brutal. I loved how they've set it up by the fighting throughout the episode. So then Tony Khan says, you know what? Just making a no DQ. Let them beat the shit out of each other. There were some similar spots to their match in Tokyo Dome, but most of the people watching here have never seen that. Probably never seen it. Didn't even know that Archer actually is the U.S. champion in New Japan. So. Moxley is. Archer was, and then Moxley took it off him. So really cool. I like what they're doing with Eddie Kingston because he refuses to give up on it. He says, you're only in this business because you want to be a champion. So, the back fist, the choke, the fact that he got Lucha Brothers to help him, which I thought was pretty cool. Him on commentary saying that, Moxley left them for the land of the entertainers and didn't bring anybody with him like he was supposed to do. I really like that. So there you have it. AEW Week in Review. Something I'm going to try doing. I'm actually going to try start putting this on the audio. I didn't make that mention in the beginning, but I'm going to try and pull out the audio and put that as well as a podcast. See if that brings in some more people. But as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. And as always, be safe, love each other, and bye now.